So now moving into my second practice, pass the buck. Now, pass the buck, I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Now, if you've ever heard of pass the buck, please drop a comment down below because I had never heard of this phrase before. Basically, pass the buck means it's a phrase that's you shift the responsibility for something to someone else. That is entirely what pass the buck means. You're just moving responsibility from one person to another person. Now, I'm going to give you a little caveat. This practice is not about passing off work to someone else. It's about passing the responsibility, meaning you don't have the knowledge of how to solve this problem. So never say no is you have the knowledge or the bandwidth to solve a problem. But pass the buck means you don't have the knowledge. So it's your first day on the job. Perfect example is when I was a trainer and someone doesn't know how to, if it was in a retail store, they didn't know how to cash somebody out. If it was at a startup, it was they didn't know how to use the program. There would be a moment in time where they would need to pass the buck to me so then I could either teach them or I can assist them through the process. And so with pass the buck, I want you to think of it as tag teaming, because what you're going to do is you're learning the method of how to provide a solution in a certain circumstance. And so the idea is at whatever job that you have, you're either going to have a trainer, a manager, you're going to have somebody that you report into, and they're going to be the person that you ask your questions to. And so the idea is, once again, you want to practice that idea of never saying no. So you come up with a solution. So say you run into an issue, you don't know how to solve it. When I'm talking about an issue, I'm talking about something within your bandwidth that you can fix. I'm not talking about a lack of knowledge. Let's say you run into an issue. And one of the things you can do is you can brainstorm, okay, how are we going to fix this? So then when you get to your manager, you could say, hey, this report's not printing for some reason. And this is where you're going to do the never say no ideas, where it's like, I shut off my computer, it doesn't work. I rebooted this, it didn't work. And you're kind of giving the synopsis that you didn't run into an issue and run to them. You want to make sure that you are establishing a firm foundation, that you have done everything you possibly could before you reached out. Because it's this idea that as a manager knows, oh, when this person comes to me and they say this isn't working, it's genuinely not working. It's not because they missed the button. It's not because they forgot to start their computer. It's really you actually need help.